don't like it. It's no numbers. There's no pictures. There's no videos. There's no gameplay. I don't like it.
Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. Today, we are going to be talking about Free Realms. You probably already know that. You read the title. You're a Freemer. You understand what we're getting into. Today, we're going to be talking about what if Free Realms never shut down. Now, I think it's a concept that a lot of people think about. I know a lot of people in the Free Realms Sunrise community, or the Free Realms community or whatever, they all think about this. Like, what if Free Realms never shut down? It's a crazy concept, right? What if it never shut down? What if it was still here today? Well, it's not, but it's fun to explore, right? It's fun to theorize. Like, what if it was still around, right? What I want to discuss is what would it have looked like going forward? Like, if it had lived past 2014, what would it look like? Right? I want to explore that today. But in order to do that, we have to go into, like, what shut it down in the first place, right? Now, anyone can guess how it shut down, right? I know, I don't think it's the main reason. I think it was a reason for why it shut down. But, you know, we're just going to say financial reasons. That, for me, at least I believe, is the main reason why Free Realms shut down in the first place. I could be wrong, you know? I could be completely wrong, but I think it's the main reason. If it isn't, okay. But it is a reason, you know? So, without further ado, let's get into it. So what led the game to its shutdown in the first place? Right? We got to explore that first before we go any further. We just got to bring them up. So, to start, let's talk about lifetime membership. So this was a critical thing that caused the shutdown. It was, truly. And I think what Free Realms launched in 2009, lifetime membership was introduced in 2010 for $30. Now, if you don't know what lifetime membership is, it's really simple. I'm just going to explain it. It's membership that doesn't expire, that you don't have to pay monthly for. You have it forever. Now, this was, I think, it played a huge part in Free Realms' downfall. It did. You can argue it didn't, but I think it did, because it was introduced in 2010. It was removed in 2013. So, keep this in mind. The game was going on for 3 years with that membership, and then they take it away. Now, like, I don't know how much money they got from lifetime membership, because it was a one-time payment of $30. You didn't have to pay monthly. It's a one-time payment. You know, I don't even know if they got anything for, like, I don't know how much they got, but 3 years and then they remove it. Something happened. Something made them remove it in 2013. Had to have, right? And then the game shut down in 2014. Now, is that the main reason? Yeah, I do think it is. There is another thing I want to explore, though, that I don't think anyone else has talked about. That could be, it's another financial thing. And if it's true, be interesting. But it's something I want to explore, because I think it plays a huge part in the whole financial situation. So let's just explore it real quick. The other thing is Sunstone Valley. Now, my theory is that lifetime membership funded Sunstone Valley. I believe that, because if you look at I'm just going to look at the wiki right now. There was so much added in Sunstone Valley. There was, like, new combat, like they did open world combat. They added so much. There was so much Sunstone Valley in Free Realms. So many other assets were poured into this new expansion of the map. So I look at that, and it was added in 2012, which sounds about right. But think about this, right? So lifetime membership was added in 2010. Lifetime membership got removed in 2013. Sunstone Valley would have been out for a year, right? So I think they poured all their money, like 2 years later, they poured all the money they got from lifetime membership into Sunstone Valley. It's not the main thing they poured all their money into, but it was a big chunk of money went into Sunstone Valley. Was added in 2012, and the game shut down in 2014. Now, I think this is another financial thing that caused Free Realms to shut down, because, like, it's a lot, you know? You get all this money from lifetime membership, and you're like, okay, what do we do with it? You put it into Sunstone Valley, but the thing is, I don't think SOE saw a return on that. You know, usually... And we're going to use this as an example when we go into what it might have looked like if it was still around, right? So usually when, let's say, for example, and I'm going to use it as an example, Destiny. Destiny has been going strong for almost a decade. The reason being is because they charge money for their expansions. And microtransactions, obviously. That's how they're getting their money. With the expansions, they are seeing a return on that. Because people are buying the expansions, they're getting money from that. But Sunstone Valley added to the game for free. Completely free. Completely free. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I just wanted to point that out, that they didn't see a return on Sunstone Valley. Like, sure, people might have bought like they might have paid through microtransactions, but everyone at that point had lifetime membership. And the fact that they removed it a year after Sunstone Valley came out, like the lifetime membership, it shows that they were like, we made a mistake, we made an error. So how could the game survive past 2014? That's what we're here to answer, right? What would it have looked like? Would it have been crazy? Would it have been insane? We don't know. But that's what we're going to explore today. So, hello, there we go. Okay, so SOE, in order to survive past 2014, let's go back to 2010. They really have to think about lifetime membership and how much it could hurt the company in the long run. Because I guarantee you, they saw it as like a quick cash grab, right? People pay $30, they get, SOE gets that money. For 3 years, they did that. But I don't think they thought ahead, right? You need to think, this is a one-time payment. Everyone's going to be doing it. They probably saw a lot of money on the table, but they didn't see that. They didn't see how it could hurt the company, because it did. You know, I think what they should have done was never put lifetime membership into the game, because it hurt so bad. Like, all they did was they used that money they got in order to, you know, make Sunstone Valley, add whatever content they wanted to add into the game. And that was that. And they never saw a return on it because people had lifetime membership. What they should have done was stick to the monthly, yearly subscription service and push microtransactions. Because here's the thing. Free Realms was a free-to-play game. It was free to play all the way through. Because it was free to play, and there's a lot of free-to-play games now, like Destiny, like Fortnite. What do? They push microtransactions, right? Destiny does an expansion yearly. That is what works. Monthly subscription services, you push microtransactions. You have to find a way to keep the game alive, because at the end of the day, Free Realms was a live service game. You can say it was a social game, whatever. It was a live service game because of, you know, its microtransactions, its subscription service. Like, we'll use WoW for an example, because WoW had a subscription service, though I don't think WoW had microtransactions at the time. I could be wrong. I know it had game time, but I don't know if that counts. But still, right? Because it was free to play, those are the only two things that would keep it alive. Because they added lifetime membership, that killed the game. I swear to God, it played a major role. Whether you say it doesn't, it did. Okay? So going into, let's say they stick to this. They stick to the monthly, yearly subscription service, and they push microtransactions. What happens next? Okay? What do they need to do next? Right? So let's say they skip all that. They're going strong for 2 years. Sunstone Valley. We bring that into this. And I'm using Destiny as an example here because what Bungie does works. Okay? Even if you don't like Destiny, you're going to have to agree with me on this because, again, Sunstone Valley was provided to players for free. Everyone got it for free. There was no return to SOE on it. This is another factor. Again, they have all that money from the yearly, monthly subscription services and the pushed microtransactions, but if they offered the expansion to players for free, they are again losing money. They are losing. They need to get a return on what they put into the game because that is a lot of assets they are pouring into Sunstone Valley, and they're not going to see a single dime back. Maybe, maybe the microtransactions and the subscription services will keep the game alive for a little bit longer. But in order to live past 2014, I do think SOE, being live service, should adapt to what Bungie was doing. Again, Destiny at that point hadn't been out yet. It came out 6 months later after Free Realms just shut down. So, funny enough, Destiny is doing what Free Realms failed to do. So, Sunstone Valley should have been treated like any MMORPG expansion and been added for a cost to the player in order to live past 2014. So, like Sunstone Valley, if they charged, let's say $40, 20 even, because Destiny expansions are roughly $40, depending on which thing you buy, which version of it you buy. That's literally it. You pay the money, it's a one-time purchase, and then along with the microtransactions and the subscription service, if all of that, like if SOE does all of that, success across the board. It works. And then if they keep doing this, if they keep expanding the map, adding those areas in that they didn't get to add in yet, the game would be a major success. Everyone would be buying the expansions, Sunstone Valley, what are the other areas? Glimmer Deep, etc. There's a bunch of others. Black Forest, all these areas that I wrote in like the lore I wrote for Luck of the Draw. If they added those in, charged for it, the game would be alive. Straight facts. I'm not even kidding. This would work. The game would still be alive. Sure, like everything costs, like, there's so many microtransactions in the game, subscription service, expansions that are paid, pushing microtransactions, like in general, the stuff from the SC store. But that's how it would stay alive. You can't argue with me on it because everything in that game felt free to play for the most part. Like lifetime membership. Oh, I don't have to pay for membership anymore. Wow, that's crazy. And then, you got Sunstone Valley. Oh, I don't have to pay for this. I can just go there. That was the problem with Free Realms. That's why it shut down. Financially, even if it wasn't the main reason, that's why it shut down. So, let's say that SOE does this. They do all of this. They take my advice that doesn't matter anymore. The game lives past 2014. What happens next, right? You're probably all wondering that because after Free Realms shut down, SOE was became Daybreak, which Daybreak made H1Z1, and now Daybreak is owned by Enad Global 7. It's a whole thing, right? But what happens next if the game was still alive and the company was still thriving? Let's explore, shall we? So a lot of text here, but I'll read it out for you. So again, let's say Free Realms found success in what it was doing and became one of the most major live service games because Free Realms would be alive next to Destiny. It would be alive next to Fortnite. It would be alive next to so many live service games. But what happens if it does all this? So again, instead of Daybreak entering the picture, my guess is Sony, again, so Free Realms was on PS3, right? So I think Sony Online Entertainment would have merged with Sony, the parent company. And I didn't write this in here, but I do think Free Realms would have come to like consoles. Like it was already on PS3. It would have been on PS4, PS5, I think that would have been sick. It would have been great. And then crossplay again could have been implemented and people could play together. I think that's crazy. I think it would be super cool. Now, I just think they would merge with Sony because it would make the most sense, something super profitable. Like, I think it would make the most sense. It's super profitable. Sony would see that and be like, you're coming over to the parent company. And yeah, that's how it would work. I genuinely think that Sony Online Entertainment would merge with Sony, become one. Free Realms would thrive. Thrive, dude. It would thrive. And I mean, Sony, the parent company, would own Free Realms, give its developers the resources to continue development, mean they don't have to rely on like their wallet most of the time. They can, you know, they have funds from the company, and it would live to see the light of day. That's how it would live. Now, there is one thing I want to explore because, again, COVID was such a huge thing in 2020. It shut down a lot of small businesses. So looking at it, if Free Realms was still under SOE, sub-company, we'll call it sub-company, under Sony, the game would have shut down due to everything that happened in that year. Small businesses being forced to close, and Free Realms would have shut down. I think that would have happened if Sony didn't, like, you know, merge with them. You know, we're hypotheticals here, right? But like, if Sony didn't merge, I think that's a key point too, because Sony Online Entertainment, I think, needed to merge with Sony, hypothetically, in order to stay alive, in order to keep the game afloat. Because the thing is, like, big businesses, they were struggling, sure, but like, they weren't shutting down. You know, it was mostly small businesses, and Sony Online Entertainment, I'm pretty sure they're a small studio, or they were a small studio. So that's what I think. I think, like, because they merged, hypothetically, Free Realms is completely safe. You know, and it wouldn't have faced a shutdown, and the game, in my eyes, would have thrived. That's what I think. You know, moving on to my last presentation slide here. If SOE had done things smarter financially, again, not to say it was the main issue, it would have saved the game dramatically. This is what I believe. Whether or not, you know, financially it was the main issue, I think everything I brought up to a point, to a T, would have saved the game. That's what I think. You can tell me I'm wrong, but listen, Destiny, again, we're using it as an example, has been around for nearly a decade. It's crazy. It's insane. It's been around for nearly a decade. It's doing something right. It did something that Free Realms failed to do, that SOE failed to do. That's why the game shut down, because it didn't implement enough money. I don't want to call them schemes, but like, not enough money planning went into Free Realms. They literally were like, okay, everything is free, here you go. Like, they needed to push making money more. You know, they needed to have financial goals, and they didn't do that. I really do think that's a huge reason. Is financially, they weren't smart there. Like, obviously, these are adults. Like, you know, I'm assuming they were super smart, but like, financially, I think they were struggling. So, yeah, if you think this is true, I mean, cool. I'm doing something right, you know. I'm giving you a good old hypothetical to say, like, this is how Free Realms would have lived. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you did, I appreciate it a ton. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.